Hi, welcome to the Canadian enthusiast. Welcome to my show. Today is the episode 4 of the second season, which means this episode is the last episode of the season 2. I have an important announcement to make at towards end of this episode about my next new channel coming in YouTube. But let's get to business. This week on the show we have tremendous amount of new vehicle launches and information about upcoming launches and major interest of major areas. There are so many interesting things that's going to be talked about this week that you will be surprised to know as myself, a Canadian, and as you fellow Canadians will be very interested on a major news that's coming in your way. But today on the show, let's get on the show start. Now, this week on the show, we must start off by talking we have a combination of saloons, SUVs, so it's a very balanced show this week around. So last week it wasn't quite balanced, it was about the Bronco. This week on the show, it's very balanced. And also I must tell you, it's going to be a rather long show. So please stay patient with me. Please go through this journey with me through this show. And before start of the show, please put a like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon and share this video and my channel. So let's start out with the first news. Let's start with the first one. Now we all know how much the Dodge Grand Caravan is popular in Canada. As a fellow Canadian, I can tell you the impact of the Dodge Grand Caravan is very significant for us. It has created jobs for us. Magnificent amount of jobs are being created. It's not only that. It's sort of a national treasure for us, the Dodge Grand Caravan. It's something that Dodge assembled in Canada back in the 80s, and the Grand Caravan was one of those early products to do so. But the Dodge Grand Caravan needs to go because it's been there since 2007. So unlike Lexus LX, as my old video, if you want to see my old video, you can see my old video about the Lexus LX. Now, it's almost rather unspeakable if you deeply think about it in a rather crazy sentence. It's rather crazy because the Grand Caravan has existed despite the luxury minivan segment is shrinking. It's not a major shrinker. If you really think about it, the manufacturers like Toyota and all of them they make enough money around the world to support other sorts of vehicles. So I will make a separate video about excuses from manufacturers for leaving segmentations. I will make a video separately on the next season, so join me on that. Now for Chrysler, they can't leave the segment in Canada because there are jobs at stake and they can't sell a Chrysler Pacifica or a Chrysler Grand Voyager in Canada. They need the Grand Caravan badge. So by next year you might able to buy, which is a rumor but I can confirm to you it's true. I'm not going to give a fully confirmation. I might say 90% sure that Chrysler might be debuting the Chrysler Grand Caravan. Now the Chrysler Grand Caravan will be a rebadged Chrysler Grand Voyager but with more standard equipment. It will cost little bit more money. Now if it's sold across the board United States, it will be coming at $37,000 to $40,000. Trim levels are based at S60. Now engines wise, I expect this it's the same engine option as the normal Pacifica and the Grand Voyager. 3.6 Pinter Star V6. Now you know the numbers, but my big question is, I'm going to ask you fellow Canadians to put on my comment section, will you buy a Grand Caravan with a Chrysler badge on it, or will you buy the Grand Caravan with a Dodge badge, or will you withdraw yourself and buy something else in the segment? Please put your response to that in the comment section. Now as Chrysler is trying to keep a nameplate running in the future, it's becoming rather inevitable that other manufacturers have even better news. Toyota has decided to facelift the Toyota Camry, which you get a large infotainment screen, and the placement of the screen is now far different. It's now installed directly into, so it's sort of an upwards position. So the infotainment screen is larger, better, and significant. And if you're buying the hybrid model in the Camry, you can have the XSE trim with the hybrid Camry. Now, to be really fair, I often say this. For me, the Camry is the best mid-size car. There's no doubt about it. And the Camry is, other than that, Toyota Camry deal doesn't change much. The same engine options, the 4-cylinder, the hybrids, and the V6 model. There's nothing much changes except for the XSE trim on the hybrid model that's offered right now. No critical changes. I'm going through this news fast, so go to the big news. So that's why I'm going through fast in between there. And of course, Now this is the big news. A Maserati revealed a Maserati Ghibli hybrid. This is the first ever electrified Maserati, any Maserati in sorts really. It's a 4-cylinder, 2-liter mild hybrid 4-cylinder with 325 horsepower and 158 miles per hour. If you are living in the States, it's 330 horsepower, but in Europe, it's 325 bhp. It's called British horsepowers, but I would go with bhp, that's overly complex. But the surprising fact is, this makes the same power as the S model of a Maserati Ghibli, which as a twin turbo V6, 2.9 liters. But a strange argument is this engine is looking to replace the Ghibli's diesel engine. Now I know it's awkward for all of us to believe a Maserati with a diesel engine, so this might take that taboo off the equation. The taboo will be taken away from the Maserati Ghibli for the betterment. Now prices-wise, I expect the Maserati Ghibli to cost a little bit more, but I also expect the plug-in hybrid model to cost way more than the diesel model. But let me tell you something. In North America, including as fellow Canadians, we really can't buy the Maserati Ghibli diesel. So why am I talking about a hybrid option? It's for a reason. Because I believe the Maserati Ghibli diesel engine, we can't have it, but I'm doing it for the entire world, as for you fellow Canadians and for the entire world. I may have viewers in the worldwide. So in Europe, the Maserati Ghibli diesel is the best-selling engine. So this hybrid might able to sort of halt the progress. That is because diesels are slowly going away from the industry. Very few keeps diesels. Who are obsessed with diesels, who can make them work, they go really well. But talking about Maserati is great. We have to move on further. So now Porsche has decided that you can buy 911 Turbo S, which makes 640 horsepower, 205 mile hour top speed. Great, fantastic. But there's always the real 911 Turbo is the 911 Turbo. Am I right? If you are right, tell me your enthusiast views about it on the comment section. But the thing about the 911 Turbo is, it's never powerful enough compared for Turbo S. That is because horsepower is rated according for the model line. Now this turbo model I'm going to talk about is the Turbo. It's powered by a 3.7 liter flat 6 with a twin turbo flat 6, making 572 horsepower. Now that is the same horsepower as the last gen 911 Turbo S made. So it's a significant growth in power. But remember, it's a Porsche 911, so more models will be coming in the future, like GT2, GT3, GT2 RS, GT3 RS. There can be many things coming. It's a Porsche. Top speed is 198 miles per hour. Seems quite good in between, but luxury supercars are more about handling and grand touring abilities than ever before. It's not about straight line speed. I haven't seen many luxury supercars are cracking that 200 mile per hour top speed at all very recently. A Lamborghini Huracan does 202 or something, so really that's a reality. Now for the turbo model, sort of gives you a leeway about value for money in a crazy term. It gives you value for money. Now a Turbo S will cost way over $200,000. It might go up to $300,000. I'm saying with Porsches, you never know the optional extras you end up buying. That's a bit of reality. A turbo model might go slightly less, but in the world of Porsche, everything is expensive. The brake calipers to the carbon ceramic brakes, everything is expensive option. So the turbo model might be a getaway for you to get access for the world of the turbo world. So I recommend you buy the Turbo, not because the Turbo is bad, it's fantastic, it's a monster, it's a behemoth, but money wise I recommend to go for the Turbo, because you will end up paying 300 grand for a Turbo S after all the optional extras together. So that's why I'm saying. Other than that, in the Porsche 911 lineup, there is no significant change. And I forgot to mention there is a new 380 horsepower 911 that which I forgot to talk about a long time ago is also in here, which is useless, the value for money point. I don't know why it exists. Moving on from that, let's talk about Mercedes-Benz. Porsche gives a Turbo, Mercedes gives the AMG GT Black Series. The Black Series is back after their sellers AMG Black Series. This behemoth gets a 4.2 liter flat crank 4 liter twin turbo V8. It makes 612 horsepower, which makes it the same as a Lamborghini Aventador, same as a Lamborghini guy, as a Lamborghini Huracan. So that makes a very good horsepower number for me personally. Top speed is 202 miles per hour. Actually, that's pretty good and impressive actually. But the reality of the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG is that it gives you horsepower, but Mercedes is a very clever company. They don't just give you powers and say it's it. And sorry to mention it's 720. Let's get that clear. I made a mistake, so please. I made a mistake on that. 720. But the picture of the reality is about when it comes to the AMG GT is that many people have often said in a rather crazy term that it wanted more power. You know, things like the Nissan GTR was beating it for 0 to 60 and for performance in general. I wasn't a big fan of the AMG GT. I often thought it didn't make sense to buy one. Buy yourself a Nissan GTR. What's the problem? You get 5 seats in it, and it's a V6. It's more fuel efficient. It's Nissan. It's reliable. It's only 4 people ever assemble the Nissan GTR. So it's rare in terms of craftsmanship. But in terms of craftsmanship, the AMG is also there on the same levels of craftsmanship. I'm going to say that. It's no problem. But of course, this model gives them a leeway in for the extra performance that we are all looking for it. And remember, we're talking about the upcoming 640 horsepower AMG GT 473 AMG model, which might signify luxury super saloons even further in Mercedes' favor, further in Mercedes-Benz way. And we are talking about E63 AMG is talking about 600 horsepower. We're talking about a C63 AMG with, 4-cylinder turbos. I don't know how is it going to work, but that's the consumer's choices to make. So please give me your views on what you think of 4-cylinder AMG for you. That doesn't include AMG 45 AMG. Please remember. Now, as Mercedes does that, and of course price-wise, I think it's well over 200 grand. Now, talking about that, I want to go through these things rather quickly. Land Rover has introduced a new series of mild hybrid inline-6 diesels. That is, I'm going to talk the most powerful power plant, the 345 horsepower mild hybrid inline-6 diesel, available in the Range Rover Sport and the Range Rover. And I expect this powertrain to be significant for Land Rover because the Canadian market and the US market, we often had plenty of diesel Range Rovers. And we often loved them because we want the Range Rover's world-leading luxury, but not the fuel bill. But recently, diesels are gone out of interest in the United States after the VW Dieselgate, so that's the reality. Now, the Range Rover Sport gets this engine in many forms, actually in 250 form, 300 form, and 340 form. So something to look forward to. Now, in general, other than that, the lineups in the Range Rover Sport and the Range Rover is really unchanged, really. And remember, the Range Rover Sport and the Range Rover has plug-in hybrids throughout their lineup right now. It's all electrified, so I can't wait to tell you guys when I get a chance to talk about them more, because I might do a show entirely focused on Land Rover's plug-in hybrid models entirely. So join me for that episode. So I'm going to end the episode on this channel until the next episode. Before that, I want to say I would be starting a new show that's called Kavindu Political Times, which will be a show about my views on global politics, what I think, what happens in world politics, my opinions about how the world is changing, what I think that leaders should be doing or what leaders should have done in the past. And of course, don't worry if you are any supporters of any particular politicians, don't worry. I don't dislike any particular politician. I believe certain politicians can't come to a seat of power and just replace things and change. So you get my point on that. To know more about my views, join me on my show when I will be starting my new show, Kavindu Political Times. Thank you very much. Please put like on the show, on the KG show, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.